who made heaven and earth.
Dear brothers and sisters, today is the fourth Sunday of Lent, and I am happy to share a short reflection with you. Lenten season, dear brothers and sisters, is always a great moment of renewal, reconciliation, and finding joy in our good relationship with God and others. The parable in today's Gospel, that is from Luke chapter 15, verse 1 to 3, and then 11 to 32, teaches us about our great reunion with God. Traditionally, the parable is often the return of the prodigal son, or the story of the prodigal son. But in this reflection, I would like us to call it the return of the two sons. We shall see that no matter how craftily we hide, we need to be welcomed home. We need to be reunited with God. The story is therefore about our reconciliation with God. In our gospel reading today, we can see two groups, two sons and one father. So we take the two groups first. The tax collectors, sinners on one hand, the Pharisees and the scribes on the other hand. While the tax collectors and sinners were crowding round to listen to Jesus, the Pharisees and scribes complained. In the Synoptic Gospels, these two groups are always placed in contrast. The tax collectors and sinners are often in search of Jesus and trying to listen to him. They ask for forgiveness and often make serious effort towards conversion. When we look at the story of Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus heard of Jesus and he wanted to see Jesus, but he was short. So what did he do? He climbed a tree just to catch a glimpse at Jesus. And when he did, his sins were forgiven, and he even made promises to refund double to all those he cheated. We can also look at the story of the woman who used her tears to wash the feet of Jesus and to wipe with her hair. She had her sins forgiven. This same group of people came to John the Baptist asking him for baptism. They are conscious of their sinful state and often pray that God should be merciful to them, sinners. On the other hand, the Pharisees are strong opponents of Jesus and sometimes even lay traps to contradict his teachings. They parade their holiness. They are proud and self-conceited. They are hypocrites and don't practice what they preach. Everything they do is done to attract attention, like wearing of broader headbands and longer tassels, like wanting to take the place of Anna at banquets. Jesus addresses the parable to this second group. When we come to the two sons, the younger son asks for his share of inheritance while his father is alive. In the Jewish culture and even in our African culture, such a demand is tantamount to wishing the death of one's father. It is an abomination. It is a terrible thing to do. He feels he needed freedom because seemingly staying in the father's house is imprisonment for him. We sometimes feel following Christian teachings limits our freedom, and indeed, sometimes we walk away to exercise our freedom. In his exuberance and sheer exercise of freedom, he leaves his father's house and goes to enjoy life, which unfortunately turns disastrous for him. As a Jew, he finds himself not only outside his father's house, but even outside the Holy Land, since rearing of pigs is not allowed in the Holy Land. Even at that, the pigs, the dirtiest animals on this earth, are treated better than him. He lost his dignity as a human being, and since he has no access to even pigs' food. But he came back to his senses, and he said, "Yes, I shall arise and return to my Father." He made a complete U-turn. We never value what we have until we have lost it. With a contrite heart, he returns and finds joy. He is crowned like a king with the best robes, sandals, and ring. This younger son represents all sinners, tax collectors, and those who genuinely repent. The son is a dutiful son, but self-conceited. "I have never disobeyed you. I have never gone against any of your orders," he tells his father. He stays in his father's house and works in the fields. But when he hears of his brother's ceremonial return, he becomes angry, jealous, and refuses to go in. He accuses his dad of partial treatment and disowns his own brother, calling him "this son of yours." He sees his work in his father's house as slavery. Though staying under his father's roof, he is not better than the younger brother. His refusal to go into the house shows his self-exclusion from the father's love. We can say he represents the Pharisees and the scribes. They are dutiful, appear faultless, but deep inside they are actually rotten. Now the father, an old man who loves and respects the freedom of his children. When his younger son decided to leave, he respected his decision. He waited with utmost patience for his return. While the son was still far away, he sees him, he pities him. He runs to him, make him like Atu, and then he kisses him. What a father. He asks for no explanation, but quickly begins to organize a feast to honor his son's return. Even though the two sons, in one way or the other, disowned him, he still calls them his sons and nothing else. He invites both the younger and the elder son to come into the house. In one way or the other, we find ourselves either exhibiting the attitude of the two groups, the younger son or the elder son. In any case, we all need God's mercy and his warm embrace. All that God desires of us is a heart that sincerely repents. All that he desires is for us to arise and make a U-turn and come back to him. He awaits our return with a banquet like Israel in the promised land after their exodus from the land of slavery. We enjoy such joy and true freedom when we break away from sin. More than any other time of the year, Lent offers us such great moments of reconciliation, especially in the sacrament. Let us make good use of this beautiful time in order to experience the joy of Easter. May God bless us all. Amen.